was like, did I just pee my pants? And I was like, what is going on here? I always tell my husband, like, I wish you could experience this drug because you'd like it. You'd like it a lot. Hello, welcome back to another video from me, Danielle. This is me talking about my birth story and how things have been since birth, because I'm right now about 2.5 weeks postpartum while filming this video. And you know, things haven't been as difficult as I expected with 3 kids, but my own personal recovery has been a little harder, not even in like the delivery aspect of things, but nursing. Nursing has been a little harder this time around than the last 2 times because of one thing, one little thing. That's how like peculiar nursing is. One thing really can change everything. Let's get into this video. First off, let's introduce the baby. If you didn't watch my 24 hours in the hospital or 24 hours at home videos, I will have them linked up here so you kind of get a little bit of an introduction to him. But his name is Robert Wayne Hollenbach. He was born on March 20th, and we have been loving him and enjoying his presence ever since. I went into labor on Sunday night. Not traditional going into labor. It was kind of weird. With my first son, my water broke in the middle of the night. I mean, it was way middle of the night. Everything came out at once. It was like a movie. With my second son, I had had contractions all night long, went to the hospital in the morning, had him that night. With Robert, it was a little different. Actually quite different than all of my other birth experiences. So my labors were 12 hours and under, so 8 hours and 12 hours. I was expecting it to be even shorter this time around because it was my 3rd child, and honestly, you know, that's usually when they say things are a little quicker. If you hear baby noises, this is his room. That is also my office, where I'm doing a little nursery office combo because it just works out well in our season of life right now. That's what he's doing. He's making his noises over there. This labor was my longest labor. Surprisingly, it started on Sunday night. So I was giving the kids a bath after we had eaten some tacos. I had tried so many things. I had had prodromal labor for the last week leading up to having him. So on the Monday before I went into labor, I had prodromal labor. Thought I actually was going to go to the hospital for labor. I went to my doctor's appointment that day and I was told I was 1 centimeter dilated and my contractions were real, but they weren't doing anything. And I was like, okay, that's great. So then that whole week at night for about 3 hours from 2 to like 5 or 6 a.m., I would have labor contractions, try to sleep through them, but they actually hurt, but nothing would happen. So then that weekend, of the 18th and 19th of March, I had stopped having contractions, so I was like bouncing on the ball, trying to walk, trying to just play with the kids, do dance parties, whatever, to just get things moving. And I had been running up until the Wednesday before I delivered. I was gonna run on that Friday, but I was just so tired from all that prodromal labor. I think running did help kind of get contractions to continue going, so I think since I didn't run Friday, that's why they stopped. But anyway, that weekend, didn't really feel any contraction. I was like, okay, I'm probably gonna go to 40 weeks on this baby, no big deal, whatever. I'm really in pain, really don't want to be doing this. Like, I'm very sick of being pregnant, but we'll do it. We're okay. We can do this. We've done it before. So I was having all this prodromal labor and I was very mad that it had stopped because I really thought in my mind for many months that he was going to be born on the 20th. And with all my other kids, I had actually planned out their due dates and like been right. So I was like, okay, I want this to continue. Like, I really have this in my mind. It's going to be very strong on the 20th. So fast forward, I've been eating spicy foods. We'd been going to restaurants, trying to like enjoy our last couple of days, you know, just as a family of 4, trying to get as much time with kids as possible. So we went to our favorite Mexican place here in town, got some tacos to go. It is super spicy. I mean, it is, if you put all the sauces on they have, it is the spiciest, authentic Mexican food you can probably get in the Midwest. And I ate that. And I was like, okay, man, this is pretty darn spicy, like whatever. Ate the most sauce that I'd ever had with them or with their food because I was like, okay, we're gonna do this, like, yeah. And I had not expected that things were gonna happen fast after dinner. I was expecting I'd go to sleep and then maybe things would start up. No, got the kids in their bath right after dinner. So this was like a half an hour after eating. It was 5:30 and I was washing their hair, leaning over, playing with them. They have this shark that we got like at the beach in Newport in California last Thanksgiving, and now they play with it in the bathtub. So I was leaning over like playing with that with James, and then all of a sudden I just sat up on the toilet and on the toilet seat cover, I saw all this water. I was like, did I just pee my pants? It was like a trickle. And I was like, what is going on here? So then I moved again and another gush came out and I was like, okay, I think this is my water breaking. And I said, Eric, like, I think my water broke. Maybe I peed my pants. Who knows? I'm gonna go change my underwear, put a pad in, see what happens. Well, I changed my underwear, put a pad in, sat back down to finish up bath time, and again, a gush came out. And I said, okay, I better call. We gotta get this checked out. I think this is my water breaking. So I dropped the kids off at my parents' house. Luckily, on that Sunday, I just put the car seat in our car. Like, I had been planning that this was going to happen. I guess subconsciously I knew. So everything was ready. My hospital bag had been packed for about 2 weeks at that point. And we were ready to go. We were pretty low maintenance because we can go home. It's 10 minutes away, like the hospital from us. And the kids are 2 minutes away because my parents live right by our hospital. So it was really good. You know, I really like how easy it is for us to get there. So got there, it was Sunday night, so we had to go to the emergency room to actually be let in. Waited there for a little bit of time, and it's actually a very busy emergency room that we have. So waited, went up to triage. And it was a night where no one else was having a baby. Like, that is the most unique thing that I think happened in this whole birthing experience. No one else was having a child. So all three nurses that were like on staff right at the 7 o'clock turn, because by this time my water broke at 5:30. By the time we got to the hospital, it was 7, and by the time I was admitted, it was 7:30. Right when I got in there, they were trying to pull up all my paperwork and, like, you know, to make sure I got all the things you need, and tested the water. It was water, and the nurse was just like, okay, let's get you back. And she's like, okay, what's your birth plan? And I said, epidural immediately, go get me the epidural. And she said, okay, are you feeling contractions? And I was like, no, like, I'm not feeling any contractions. And that's probably the strangest thing. I was not feeling anything at all, which with my first son, when my water broke, it took about an hour, and then I just felt the worst contractions of my life. I had back labor. It was awful. I was trying to do an all-natural birth, nothing, you know, I didn't want to use any intervention for medication. Dumbest decision ever. Like, people who do that, awesome for you. I don't need to do that. Epidurals are a miracle drug, so I know it's a little scary to get them, but they're definitely worth it because I have had great birth experiences with them. So anyway, got admitted to my room. Since there was no one else around, like, having a child, I literally got the epidural within a half an hour, and the nurses were looking at my contractions. I had 3 nurses in there. So I had the one that was dedicated to me, and then the 2 that were just like, hey, no one else is here, might as well help out right here for now. As the night went on, I think 2 other people did get admitted, so they were a little busier, but they were like, you're having contractions like crazy right now. You don't feel these? And I was like, what the heck? Like, how do I not feel these? I was like, yeah, I don't feel anything going on right now. And they went, okay, well, we'll put the epidural in. Maybe things will go super fast because it looks like you really are contracting a lot. Well, put the epidural in. Most painful epidural I've ever gotten. And I think it's because I was not having contractions. With my other 2, I was having like intense contractions when I got the epidural. So I was more focused on that than I was on the pain. But it was quick. You know, once it's in, it takes like probably 30 seconds of pain in, good, start feeling it, and it's a miracle. Like I said, miracle drug. If you want to have one of the best drugs of your life, experience that one. And I always tell my husband, like, I wish you could experience this drug because you'd like it. You'd like it a lot. Anyway, so got the epidural in, and then shortly after that, I actually stopped contracting, which is very unusual for me. Usually epidurals made me go super fast. So I was at 2 centimeters at this point, and I was at 2 centimeters the entire night. Now, I had one of the best nurses. Came in every half an hour, switched positions for me, tried her best to get me progressing because I had halted, and I'd halted for hours. And she, in her mind, and just like in my mind, probably thought, okay, once you hit that 24-hour mark and your water is broken, they're going to want you to do a cesarean. They're going to start pushing for those interventions. I didn't want to do that, and she didn't want that for me. Her name was Elise. Loved her. Like, honestly, like I said, best nurse ever. And she worked her butt off to try to get me progressing. Since I had the epidural, I was able to take little naps. But about every half an hour to 45 minutes, she'd walk in, switch my position, get my vitals, all those things, make sure the baby was doing great, which this kid was the only kid who had no issues while I was in delivery. The other children, like, they had to move me around to move the baby, make sure the baby was doing okay. He was fine the entire time. Heartbeat was good. He was happy. He was moving around. Like, it was a strange experience because I had not experienced that with my other kids. But all night, again, nurse came in, switched positions, and in the middle of the night, they said, you know, you must still have some sort of water in there. I think they called it a 4th bag, and it must be blocking the baby. So all 3 nurses had come in to check for this 4th bag, and they had not been able to find it. And they said, you know, even though we can't find it, I definitely think you still have something in there. We're going to keep moving you, and maybe the baby's just covering, you know, this bag that needs to be popped or whatever. So all night did that, and at shift change at 7 o'clock, the nurse informed my new nurse coming in that, you know, you should be looking out for this. And she was so disappointed because she wanted me to have that baby like with her around, but she did come and visit afterwards and was just the nicest nurse in the world. And she was like, okay, like, you know, do some more positions and then look for it. Well, after about an hour of doing some more positions with this new nurse, the midwife came in and she gave me a dilation check and said, whoa, you do still have some water intact right here. Let me pop this. So they got the little hook thing out, popped it. And my husband said a bunch of water came out, but then my mucus plug came out like all at once as well. So that's probably why I wasn't progressing with all of my other kids. Once that mucus plug came out, it literally was 30 minutes and I'd have a baby. So that was around 10 o'clock. They said, okay, we're going to leave you alone. Try to get some rest. Let's see what happens. About an hour later, I woke up with so much intense pressure that I was just like, okay, this baby's coming. Called the nurse in and he said, yeah, you are ready. We can see the baby's head. They got ready in position, everyone, you know, who needed to be there, which this actually was my most laid back birth. With my other two, there was like people observing and like visiting doctors. And like with my second baby, the receptionist at the desk, it was like the daughter of one of the nurses and she wanted to see a baby be born. So they asked me if it was okay. And I was like, yeah, that's fine. Like as long as she's, you know, suited up for it, let her come in here. But this was just two people, the nurse and the midwife. Took 2 minutes, pushed 3 pushes, like three of the cycles of pushing. Baby was there and it was so laid back, so relaxed. One of like the best birth experiences I could have ever asked for. You know, I'm very grateful for it. I get like even a little emotional thinking about it. I was so emotional. This pregnancy, you know, this past pregnancy, this birth, postpartum, I'm very emotional. Maybe it's like with age, with having more kids, but things hit me a little differently now than they used to. I just had a great time, you know, and I know that this was an 18-hour labor. So like most people probably be like, oh, this is your best labor? Like it's your longest one. Honestly, it was the best labor because it was the longest one. I got to be with that nurse that was awesome for the whole night. And she was, you know, just great person. I got to sleep. I got to be relaxed. Like the postpartum recovery in the hospital was so easy because I had gotten sleep, which I had never gotten with either of my other kids. Like I did not sleep during delivery because it was so rapid, so fast. And it was also like middle of the night with the one, and then the other one was all day long laboring, have your baby at night, and then you're up all night with a newborn. So 2 very exhausting experiences for different reasons. And with this baby, it was just so much more relaxed. And I'm so glad because I was so tired. I was so tired. Being a mom, you're more tired, especially with 2 toddlers running around. I was very thankful for the little bit of rest I got. Yeah, but that was the whole birth experience. Had a great golden hour. Actually, 2 hours is what they do at our hospital. And then I moved to postpartum and, you know, if you want to see how that went, I have my video for the first 24 hours of the newborn. Everything was great. And I'm feeling good now, recovering, being about 2.5 weeks postpartum. I'm basically done bleeding. I feel like my body's actually bouncing back pretty good, you know, better than it has in the past. I've always been like, okay, because I do exercise. I get into exercising quick after I have the baby. So things do bounce back a little faster, but I just feel better. My clothes is fitting pretty good. And you know, I just feel good. I don't even realize why I'm pregnant, how cluttered my mind gets. I think it's the hormones, all of the worries about like pregnancy that you don't even know you have, but you do have in the back of your head. And now it's just like, I can refocus. And really, our baby's been so easy. He sleeps well. And he's just a good boy. Now, the biggest stressor for me has not even been the children. It has not been the newborn. It has been the fact that my milk came in so freaking fast and hard. I, within the first few days, had a clogged duct on this side that I thought had become mastitis. It was red, it was hot, but after like 2 days it went away, so I didn't worry about it. But then a couple days later, this breast, literally half the breast underneath it, had become red. And I had to go in, get medication for mastitis, but I got mastitis bad on this side. And I think it's because I was so engorged, and this side's a overproducer like crazy. and finally it's away, but it did take 5 days for it actually to go away, and it was just so painful. When it first came on, I actually woke up in the middle of the night like shaking and could not stop, and I was like crying, and I thought, am I having a panic attack? Like, what's going on? No, it was mastitis. Like, it was bad. It was a bad case, and I've had it before with my other kids, but never anything like this. I also started running again. I'm gonna have a whole video about my workout plan and what I'm doing there. I started about a week and a half postpartum. Nothing too intense at first, but since I did run throughout my pregnancy, pretty easy to get back into things. It's just more like joint pain, making sure I don't injure myself, making sure that my abs are not gonna be separated, you know, not pushing anything too far. So yeah, I'll do a whole update about that, and then I'll even do some progress videos. I almost wanna make a series about that. Month to month, basically, like what I'm doing and changing in my training program, my nutrition. Right now, I'm eating like crap. I mean, I'm literally eating whatever I want to. Some foods are good, some foods are bad, but it's because, like, honestly, nursing does make me very hungry. I know some people, like, they lose weight when they nurse. That doesn't work for me. I gotta work out. But I'll give you my whole update rundown on what I'm doing there. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a like, subscribe to my channel for more, and I got more vlogs, more mom content, and some more fashion videos. Postpartum fashion video, I have one planned out of my mind. I just gotta film it. I want it up like in this next week because I just have so many ideas about it, and you know, the first few weeks of postpartum are like the hardest time to dress, so I wanna be able to give you guys some ideas for that. So yeah, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and come back for more. Bye.